Hey guys, so for this video, I kind of want to talk about a learning slash teaching method that I learned as an undergraduate getting my bachelor's in English. So it's called the Waiter teaching method. So it's a teacher method for discussion-based classes. So the teacher I had him for literature of Hawaii, Southern American literature of Hawaii, British literature, and then American literature post Civil War. So all of his classes follow the same teaching method, which is the Waiter teaching method. And he talked about it this way. When he was around my age, while he was working his way through school, he was a waiter, so that meant he had to navigate many tables at a time, but still be able to have an eye and make sure everything was working smoothly. So for this method of teaching, it divides the students into different tables. So if you have a class of 20, you would split the groups into 4 or 5, and it usually have 4 or 5 groups in the class. I think the least we've ever had in a group was 1 or 2, and if that would happen, we would just get moved into another group and enter that discussion. So basically, the reason why this teaching method worked so well is we in each group would have individual discussions, and the teacher would, like a waiter, be able to come and check in and join the discussion if he felt we were getting off course, or he felt he would be able to push us in a better direction. And it was a really fun way to interact with material, as these classes were reading focused. It's hard to get a group to talk for an hour and 15 minutes, especially if they're shy and they don't want to talk in front of the whole class. They're just talking in front of 3 students. And so usually we would work with a group for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then we would switch and the class would get jumbled, and we would work with different students. So with the waiter teaching method, how it works is you get assigned to groups, and then you are given a reading. So you would have done the reading before you came to class the week before, and then the week before you get your roles. So the first week is just him explaining all of this and then explaining our roles and assigning the reading. So for example, we read Huckleberry Finn. So that first week he did a lecture on American literature, and then an introduction to Mark Twain and Huckleberry Finn, and then he assigned us to groups, and then he did a test activity of what it would be like with a short reading. So basically, within a group of 4, there are 4 different roles. There is a director. So this person, their job was to make sure that the discussion stayed on the reading and didn't go off on talking about maybe someone's weekend or talking about an assignment from a different class. And their job was to keep the whole discussion focused on the main reading. Then we have the historian. Their job was to look up historical aspects that would relate to the story. So for Mark Twain, it would look into slavery and race relations during that time. And then there'd be a connector. So this person's job would be to connect information from past readings or from the class, or maybe earlier questions they had, and then connecting them to what we were focusing on that week. And then the last role is a reader, and you would usually, that's kind of a general role, so they could have questions connected to plot, characters. They could kind of do a bit of everything. But within those roles, every person would have to come to the class with 4 or 5 questions related to the reading. So maybe, why did Huckleberry Finn decide to get on the raft? Or what does the raft symbolize with the river? How is one character's violence explainable but another's isn't? and maybe what can we learn from Twain's piece of writing now, and how would it be criticized if it was published today instead of when it was. So these are all kind of questions that would be talked about in the group, and they would focus usually on 2 or 3 chapters, usually about 40 pages of reading. And it's just kind of a good way to actually explore the novel and have a discussion that involved everyone in the group. So if maybe one person was talking too long, the teacher, he would come by and do his waiter thing and be like, why don't we hear what they have to say? Or, oh, I'm interested in why you think that. Can you explain that? And then once they had explained it, he would be like, okay, now maybe they have a question that they would want to explore with the group. And it's just a really interesting teaching method that keeps everybody involved and also makes sure that the teacher can focus on everybody in the class without stressing themselves out too much. And I think it worked really well for the college setting, and I think it worked really well for the 3 classes I was in. So I think I did that for, I think I had 2 of those classes, 1 semester in the fall and then 1 in a spring semester. So I was kind of able to gain a lot of experience with this teaching method, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thank you guys. Have a nice week.